senses of action. Atanoti expands. Nirankusham, independent like an elephant, not controlled by a trident. Kushalam, auspiciousness. Cha, also. Itaram, other than auspiciousness. Sinful activities. Va, or. Translation and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. As long as the mind of the living entity is controlled by the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, his mind is exactly like an independent, uncontrolled elephant. It simply expands its jurisdiction of pious and impious activities by using the senses. The result is that the living entity remains in the material world to enjoy and suffer pleasures and pains due to material activity. Purport. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that material pious and impious activities are both opposed to the principle of devotional service. Devotional service means mukti, freedom from material entanglement. But pious and impious activities result in entanglements within this material world. If the mind is captivated by the pious and impious activities mentioned in the Vedas, one remains eternally in darkness. One cannot attain the absolute platform. To change the consciousness from ignorance to passion or from passion to goodness does not really solve the problem, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 14:26, Sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One must come to the transcendental platform, otherwise life's mission is never fulfilled. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Korochi Vachalam Pangun Nagate Garim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a very appropriate analogy that is given in this translation today. How that when the living entity's mind is contaminated by the modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, his mind is exactly like an independent, uncontrolled elephant. Many years ago, my spiritual master, he said that the living entity is like a person who is riding on an elephant. And he's like a person that's riding on an elephant and he doesn't realize that the elephant is underneath him. So the living entity in this body is being fully controlled by the mind. So the living entity, we don't realize exactly how powerful the mind actually is. And we are being fully driven and controlled by this mind. So an elephant is most dangerous when it is on heat. You know, when it is fully stimulated by lust. You know, it is known that a pack of bull elephants when they're on heat, they can literally flatten jungle. They go on a stampede, and it's like everything in their path just gets completely annihilated. You know, and so yes, the bull elephants when they're on heat is like they're unstoppable, and the mind when it is under the grip of the mode of passion, it is completely unstoppable. And it will take the body to the point of destruction. That's how powerful the mind is. It just won't stop. I'll give you an example of what a mind influenced or under the grip of lust. Okay, so here's some statistics. Every day, human beings kill for human consumption. Yes, this is every day. 7 billion fish for human consumption. That's for human consumption, animal feed, or simply just waste that's dumped back into the ocean. That's 7 billion fish killed a day. 11 million ducks, 137 million chickens, 4 million pigs, 3 million rabbits, 2 million geese, 1.5 million sheep, 1.2 million goats, 800,000 cows, and 750,000 turkeys, and millions of other creatures on top of that. Aside from the fish, humans consume an average of 200 million animals a day. Human deaths from January the 1st until the 9th of April 2020. COVID-19 related deaths, 97,000. AIDS, 464,000. Cigarette smoking related deaths, 1,378,000. Alcohol related deaths, 680,000. Car accidents, 372,000. Ordinary influenza, 134,000. Suicides, 295,000. Babies murdered in the womb, 11,722,000. So this is simply just from the mind being under the grip of the mode of passion. So this is the horrendous turmoil, actually, that the mind causes for the living entity. Arjuna petitions Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Chantalam himana Krishna pramati balavad buddham tasyaham nigraham manye vayo eva saduskaram. That, my dear Krishna, the mind is restless, turbulent, and obstinate, and very difficult to control. In fact, it is more difficult to control than the raging wind. So Arjuna, who was far more qualified than any of the the Kali Yugaites in the world today, he's having trouble with his mind. So what to speak of us, who are whose minds are being stimulated left, right, and center by advertisements, by opportunities for sense enjoyment. So to call the mind, or to to say that the mind is like a wild elephant is a very suitable analogy. Just like a wild elephant does not care uh, who it harms or what destruction it causes. Similarly, the mind, the wild mind, does not care. You know, we say that the offenses that one can commit towards the Vaishnavas, right, is the hatimati offense, you know, is the wild elephant offense. Because one commits offenses against the Vaishnavas, it means they do not care about their spiritual life at all. They have no consideration. So, yes, the wild mind causes destruction in all spheres of life. Therefore, it is essential that the first principle, if one is to practice spiritual life, or any kind of yoga for that matter, that the first principle is that one learns to control their mind and senses. Krishna gives the remedy when Arjuna petitions Krishna about his crazy mind. Krishna gives him the remedy. Asangshayam mahabaho manu. How does it go? Manu dunugri. Anyone got it?
Durnigrahachalam.
Sorry, Prabhu, speak up, please.
Durnigrahachalam.
So, can you repeat the whole verse? Recite the whole verse, please.
Chanchalo hi mano Krishna pramati balabadhiram.
That's the verse before.
Yeah. Uh,
And the next verse. Asangshayam
Asangshaya
mahabaho.
asangshaya mahabaho mano durnigrahachalam. Abhyaseta nautu kaunteya vairagyena
Yeah,
jayate.
jagriyate. Yeah, thank you very much. So, Krishna says that it is undoubtedly very difficult to control the restless mind, but it is possible. It is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So when one studies to become a doctor, one does not become a doctor overnight. You know, it takes 7 years to become a qualified doctor. So similarly, in our endeavors to control our mind, it takes time, suitable practice, and detachment. So our daily practice of japa meditation, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, is essential. Regulation and determination to fix the mind on the Hare Krishna mantra is the way to control it. The most effective way to control it in this day and age. So, yes, this should be the first principle of in spiritual life, that one learns to control the mind. In that way, when one learns to control the mind, one, by specifically engaging it in Krishna's service, then one will experience this relief, actually. Yes, relief from the grip of material nature. So in today's purport, we're hearing that one has to give up all pious and impious activities. The process of bhakti yoga is the process of cleansing the soul of all karmic reactions. In 2010, my spiritual master gave a seminar at the Bhakti Sangama festival in Ukraine. And he asked the audience there, so tell me, how many of you would like to get rid of your bad karma? And naturally, everyone raised their hands. Yes, we want to get rid of our bad karma. That's why we're chanting Hare Krishna. you know. But then he asked them another question. He said, how many of you want to get rid of your good karma? And 50% of the people in the audience put up their hands. So we're very willing to get rid of our reactions to our reactions that cause us suffering. But we're not so willing, in fact, we're quite stubborn to hang on to the reactions that we get some material comfort. But not unfortunately, fortunately, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it fully cleanses the soul of all karma, both good and bad karmic reactions. And it is by that cleansing process that we become qualified to get out of the spiritual world and go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, in his Sri Mana Shiksha, in his second verse, he says, Na dharmam shruti guna niruktam kilikaru Raje Radha Krishna Prachura Parichayami Hatanahu Sachi Shunam Nandishvarapati Sutadve Guruvaram Mukunda Preshtatve Smaraparam Ajasram Nanumanaha. He says, my dear mind, give up all pious and sinful activities and just offer profuse devotional service to the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Always meditate on Lord Chaitanya as the son of Nanda Maharaj, and always meditate on Sri Guru as the most dear confidential servitor of Mukunda. So Raghunath Das Goswami is asking us to petition the mind to give up all pious and sinful activities and just offer our heart, offer our service to Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Actually, I was just reading the other day that this word Shraddha that we use for the word as loosely translated means faith. But faith means that you can believe in something, but it doesn't necessarily mean you act on that belief. Whereas this word Shraddha, it consists of two words, Shra and Dha. Shra means heart, and Dha means to give. So it literally means to give your heart or to invest your heart into something. So that means you perform some activity, some action. When you invest your heart into something, it means that you do something. So Shraddha literally means to invest our heart. And there is nothing more significant, nothing greater that we should be investing our heart into than our own bhakti, than our own Krishna consciousness. As she is stated in the fourth canto by the four Kumars, that if one thinks that there is something more important in their life than their bhakti, than their spiritual life, then they're in illusion. This is the greatest mistake that one can make. So it is essential that when we're on the path of bhakti, we become detached from both the reactions of both pious and sinful activity. Why should we be uh, indifferent to the reactions of pious activities, receiving good karma? Is because it is that good karma that keeps us attached to this material world. We cannot actually get out of Maya, get out of this material world, until we are fully convinced that there is only suffering. Dukhalayama Shashvatam. That is, this material world is temporary and is full of suffering. Only then can we be detached from this material world and fully attach ourselves to service to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So I'll stop there and ask if there's any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for explaining that text so nicely, beginning with the controlling of mind, with the example of uncontrolled elephant, how it behaves in a similar way, and how to control the mind in the right direction. Because without controlling the mind, nothing is possible. The mind is the only uh, part of the body which controls the whole nature of our work. So to become controlled of the mind, the following processes, as you mentioned, that first is to
Yes.
control the mind by yoga system, and how you control by suitable practice and detachment.
Mm.
If you follow this practice and detachment, is automatically get control. Of course, it doesn't come by overnight, but you to keep on practicing. So controlling the mind is the first opportunity for a person to get elevated, and that is how it defines with the pious and impious activities, because it runs through the pravritti mark, and pravritti mark always attached to the pious and impious activities. The
Mm-hmm.
ultimate goal is here to come back and to come back to the material world when is your result is finished. So m- maintaining the pravritti mark, there is no possibility of going back to Godhead. The only mark is open, that is Nibritti mark. The
Mm.
Nibritti mark is the mark which allows us to be get detached from the material attachment, and that is only by the devotional service. If we follow the devotional service or the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can easily be get detached from the material attachment and become and get ready for elevation to the higher planetary system. No, sorry, not higher planetary system, to the spiritual platform.
Yes.
So that is the gradual process. So in that way, we can be elevated, and that is what the text is talking about. Thank you so much for explaining such a good elaboration and the way you mentioned it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you
Hare
very much
Krishna,
for the very
Prabhu.
nice class explaining. One thing you have very nicely told, I mean, that is the other part of the this, that in this material world, this Dvaita or duality, the good, bad is there. But
Mm.
for transcendental, I mean, we have to rise above that. And I remember that once I have heard one example of this given from other parampara, of course, not in our parampara, but I think it is appropriate in the sense he told that just like when we have dirt in our body, we use soap. And by using the soap, we clear them. But ultimately, wash the soap to get rid of that. In a similar way, to rise above Tomo and Rajo, we have to elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness. But that is not enough for spiritual upliftment. We have to rise above that, beyond
Yes.
this duality. So that is very nicely pointed out, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the verse that is referred here in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, it is telling that in material world, this duality is there. So this is good, this is bad. These are only on the material level. And a devotee should rise above that. This beyond this to Dvaita, means these dualities. And because spiritual level is beyond that, of course, unless we are in good mode of goodness, we cannot understand that. That is a preliminary requirement. But one has to rise above that too. And particularly the Prabhuji has told that to go back to Godhead, we have to uplift ourselves spiritually beyond this material level. And that is our goal as a devotee. So a devotee should not be concerned with this is good, this is bad in the material level by mental consciousness, and rise above that. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for bringing out that point in your discussion. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just I reminded that the word you explained, the Shraddha. What is the meaning of Shraddha? It's very nice to hear about it. Shra is the heart, the eyes to give. How you deploy your heart in the interest of your devotional service. That's how it comes into existence, and that way it can be elevated. So basically, giving your heart to in giving your heart in any activities, that means dedicate your heart in the service of the Lord will be most beneficial service to bring one into the platform of spiritual advancement. It's very nice to hear from Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so maybe we can stop here.
Yes, Prabhu, it appears there is
Yeah.
no other person at the moment to make any comment. So thank you very much for your class. Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuveva patitanam
Krishna
pavanebhyo
Panevo
Vaishnavyo namo
Vaishnavyo
namaha
Namo Namaha.
अनंत कोटि
Anant
वैष्णव बिंदु की
Ki
जय ही
Jai.
बोले स्तंभ भाव प्रभु की जय कृष्ण प्रभुपाद की जय और प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल
Oh,
Glorious to assemble devotees. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.